Jason Momoa's appearance on the Kelly Clarkson Show was booked as a high-energy promotional segment for his latest action-adventure film, with producers expecting his trademark charm, booming laugh, and friendly banter to light up the stage. For the first few minutes, everything went according to plan. Kelly opened with a playful jab about his on-set pranks. Jason teased her about her Oklahoma accent, and the audience was eating it up. But the tone shifted when Kelly brought up a recent environmental advocacy speech Jason had given at the United Nations. While praising his passion, she pivoted into a pointed question about whether his blockbuster film work filled with CGI-heavy productions and globe-spanning shoots contradicted his environmental message. Jason chuckled at first, brushing it off, but when Kelly pressed again, asking if he thought his celebrity activism was more image than impact, the mood in the studio noticeably darkened. Jason's smile faded as he leaned forward, his voice lower but edged with conviction. I've dedicated my life to protecting the planet. If you think that's just an image, then you haven't been paying attention. Kelly tried to steer the conversation back to a lighter place, but the tension was already there. She made a joke about Hollywood hypocrisy, and that's when Jason's demeanor changed completely. He set down his coffee mug, removed his mic, and stood up. I came here to talk about the work and the cause, not to be accused of faking either, he said firmly. The audience gasped as Jason walked off stage without another word, leaving Kelly visibly startled and the production crew scrambling to cut to an early commercial break. Walk-off instantly became one of the most talked-about moments in daytime television that year. Within hours, clips of Jason's exit were trending on social media under hashtags like #RespectJason and #MOMOASpeaks. Supporters argued that Kelly had crossed the line by framing his activism as a PR stunt, while others claimed Jason overreacted to a legitimate question. Several of Jason's fellow actors and activists quickly came to his defense, with Lisa Bonet posting a cryptic Instagram story that read, "When you know your truth, you don't sit quietly for someone else's narrative." By the next day, Kelly addressed the moment on her show, saying, "I respect Jason and what he stands for. My questions were meant to spark discussion, not disrespect. I regret that it came across differently." Jason, meanwhile, stayed mostly silent, issuing only a brief statement through his publicist, "I stand by my work and my advocacy. Sometimes the best way to defend them is to walk away." The controversy sparked a wider debate about the role of celebrity activism and whether entertainers should be held to higher personal standards for the causes they champion. Entertainment panels and talk radio dissected the incident, with some calling it a teachable moment for interviewers, while others saw it as a warning that celebrity guests were becoming increasingly unwilling to answer challenging questions. For Jason, however, the walk-off solidified his reputation not only as a larger-than-life star, but as someone unwilling to compromise his principles in the face of skepticism. In that brief, unscripted moment, it made it clear his message was bigger than the stage he stood on, and no interview, however high-profile, would change that asterisk. In the days following Jason Momoa's abrupt exit from the Kelly Clarkson Show, the incident became the centerpiece of online debates, late-night monologues, and think pieces across entertainment media. Clips of the walk-off were slowed down and analyzed frame by frame, with commentators pointing out the exact moment Jason's demeanor shifted from playful to defensive. Many fans noted that while Jason is known for his laid-back personality, there was a visible steeliness in his eyes the moment Kelly's comments implied his activism could be performative. To his supporters, this wasn't just a celebrity losing his temper, it was a man drawing a line in real time, refusing to allow a cause deeply tied to his identity to be reduced to a punchline. Environmental organizations he had worked with quickly rallied around him, posting public statements reaffirming the tangible results of his advocacy work, from funding water initiatives to pushing for ocean conservation laws. The hashtag stand with MOMOA began trending, filled with clips of his activism and interviews that contrasted sharply with the moment on Kelly's show. Meanwhile, industry insiders hinted that the segment had gone off script. Sources close to production revealed that Jason's team had requested a focus on his film and charitable projects, with only a light touch on broader political topics. Kelly, known for her improvisational interview style, reportedly decided in the moment to push a little, thinking it would spark a lively exchange. Instead, it lit a fuse. The tension between authenticity and entertainment, between hard questions and hostile ones, became the subject of a larger cultural conversation. On social media, even those who felt Jason should have stayed and responded acknowledged the grace with which he handled his exit. He didn't insult Kelly, raise his voice, or storm off in a fit. He simply left, letting his absence speak louder than any rebuttal could. That silence, intentional and heavy, became the lasting image. Jason Momoa. I'm mic in hand, calmly stepping away from a conversation that no longer honored the reason he was there. Asterisk as the fallout from Jason Momoa's walk-off continued. The narrative began to split into two clear camps: those who believed Kelly Clarkson had crossed an ethical line by questioning his integrity, and those who argued that celebrities who engage in activism should expect tough questions. Entertainment pundits filled their shows with spirited debates, while fan communities turned the moment into a rallying cry for respecting the boundaries of advocacy. Environmental groups capitalized on the surge of attention, circulating footage of Jason's real-world efforts, visiting polluted beaches, meeting with lawmakers, and funding clean water programs in underserved communities. These clips painted a stark contrast to the insinuations made during the interview, reframing him not as a celebrity environmentalist but as an activist who happened to be a Hollywood star. The hashtag #ActionsNotImage began trending alongside hashtag #StandWithMomoa, further amplifying his cause. Asterisk Kelly Clarkson, aware of the scrutiny, used her platform to address the situation more directly. In a follow-up episode, she said, "My intention was never to discredit Jason or his work. I've seen firsthand how passionate he is, and I regret that my words might have sounded otherwise." While some applauded her willingness to publicly acknowledge the misstep, others felt the damage had already been done. Jason, true to form, avoided turning the incident into a media spectacle. Instead, he appeared unannounced at a small community event in Hawaii, where he gave a brief, impassioned speech about environmental stewardship. "When you fight for something you love," he told the crowd, "you don't waste time defending it to people who doubt it. Do you just keep fighting?" That quote went viral, resonating not just with fans, but with anyone who'd ever had to quietly but firmly stand their ground. By then, the Kelly Clarkson moment had faded from the headlines, but its echoes remained a cautionary tale for interviewers and a reaffirmation of Jason Momoa's steadfast authenticity. Asterisk by the 5th week after Jason Momoa's walk-off from The Kelly Clarkson Show, the moment had shifted from a viral flashpoint into a long-lasting reference in conversations about media ethics and celebrity advocacy. Entertainment blogs, journalism forums, and even PR workshops began citing the incident as a case study in how interviews can quickly derail when the line between curiosity and accusation gets blurred. Clips of Jason's exit continued circulating, but now they were often paired with footage of his extensive activism, work installing sustainable water systems, speaking at international environmental summits, and funding reef restoration projects. The juxtaposition made the implication that his efforts were image over impact seemed even more out of place. Fans and fellow actors alike saw the walk-off as a defining moment where a high-profile figure refused to sit through a framing of his life's work that didn't align with reality. Asterisk Jason himself leaned into his projects rather than the controversy, using the heightened attention to push environmental initiatives into the public eye. His social media feeds became a stream of educational content, personal stories from the front lines of conservation, and behind-the-scenes looks at community efforts he supported. In one widely shared post, he wrote, "You don't convince people by defending yourself, you convince them by showing up again and again." The line was simple, but struck a chord, becoming a quote used in activist circles far beyond environmental causes. Kelly Clarkson, meanwhile, made quiet but noticeable adjustments to her show's format. More pre-interview coordination, more guest-led conversations, and fewer unscripted pivots into potentially sensitive areas. While the two never shared a public reconciliation. For Jason Momoa, it wasn't about proving a point. In the room that day, it was about protecting the integrity of his work and walking away before the noise could drown out the message. Asterisk.